I'm not talking, by the way, so I hope you guys can't hear me right now, though. Great. Yeah, my mic is not great. I ordered one, but it's gonna take like a month to get here, so yeah, you'll just have to live with this bad quality until then. Yes, this is the very first session. So when I timed my practice run, it was a little over an hour, maybe like an hour and 15 minutes. There are no requirements to get in right now. We'll talk about some of the requirements later. Tell us about myself. We'll get to that. I mean, I know people aren't going to like just listen to what I have to say. People don't even know who I am, so I gotta at least like give some qualifications. We'll get to it later. Requirements. It just means like we need to spend a little bit of money, just a little bit. Hopefully not too much. Are we going to upload this VOD to YouTube? Probably. Yeah. Yeah. Money for domains, yes, but also for just like hosting stuff, right? I don't know. I'm gonna try really hard to keep it costs down as low as possible, but still need to pay a little bit more. For requirements and then like knowledge of a programming language. Um, So I'm not really going to get into like really basic programming stuff. Like if you have absolutely no idea about programming, I would recommend watching some of the other workshops that are available on the Discord. And then you can always get back to these, by watching the VODs later. You could run the server locally for testing, yeah, but you also need to get it public, right? So other people can see it. That's right, spending money live on stream. Yep, doxing myself live on stream. That's what's gonna happen today. Have I started yet? No. That's why you see this my wallpaper background and not, anything. Do I have something to censor my name in my AWS account? No. In fact, you guys are gonna have to learn my name later because when we go onto GitHub, I have my name on there stuff. Is this wallpaper engine? Yes. We're not gonna go into GitHub today, boys and girls. That's for next session. How many sessions? I'm thinking 5 for now. We'll get into more details later. I don't think I enabled 5 had I. Let's see. I ran out of slots. I want to add a 6 to go over security. We're going to go over security as we go along. Am I a TA in university? Nope. I graduated. Okay, start recording. It's 12 noon, so let's get started. 11. All right, everybody. Hello and welcome to our very first session of the Intro to Full-Stack Development workshop on HealthyGamer. So first things first, who am I? We'll do it live on Discord. I graduated from UC Berkeley with degrees in applied math and computer science. And right now, I'm an SDE at Amazon Web Services, and I've been there for about 3 years now. I work for the SageMaker team. So it's just a little, very short background to get you started, to make sure like I know a little bit of what I'm talking about, just a little bit. So yeah, Berkeley Andy. So we're gonna start with some disclaimers first of all. Even though I do work for Amazon, this workshop is obviously not affiliated with it, and everything that I say is my own opinion, and does not necessarily reflect the views of my employer. and this is something else, that this is really not a programming workshop, right? If you have absolutely no programming experience, I highly recommend you to watch some of the other introduction to programming workshops that we have available on the Discord. I'm really not going to go into like really the basics of programming. I expect you to have a passing familiarity with object-oriented programming because we're going to be using it later on, but you know, it's not a big deal, I suppose. How do arrays work? I don't know, man. Don't tell me. Software engineering is all about trade-offs. I'm not necessarily looking for like there's no single best way to approach any problem. There's only the best way for your circumstances. And the things that the concerns that I have when I was designing this workshop really is how much does it cost? Because we are going to be spending money, and I would like as many people as possible to be able to follow this workshop to get something available. I've done my best to try and keep the price under, I think, $5 a month, with the exception of this first session, which we'll get into later. Is it free? No, unfortunately, it's not. Like I said, try and keep it under $5 a month. So what even is Fullstack? Like, what are we going to actually try and learn today, or in these sessions, right? So when I think of Fullstack, there are two separations of concerns that I'm concerned with. The first is the front end, which is the user interface, like anything that a user directly interacts with. Like when you go to a website and you click around things, you're interacting with the front end. When you open an application and then you tap around or whatever, that's front end. When you're using Discord to chat with people, you're interacting with the front end. And there's also and then there's the back end, which we define as the data access layer. Things like when you're on Discord, they need to keep a record of all the things that you said, and they do that in the back end. You don't interact with it directly. It's presented to you by the front end. And in my opinion, there are different concerns. One isn't really more difficult than the other, and both are very important for your application. And we're going to be dealing with both today, both in our sessions. And so here's a very broad outline of what I'm hoping to be our syllabus as we move forward. Today we're going to be learning about networking and how computers actually talk to each other. Next session we're going to go over little basics of software engineering. We're going to go over setting up a developer environment. We're going to go over version control and CI/CD and things like that. After that, we'll be building our backend first. We'll be talking about APIs, databases, and things like that. Then we're going to be talking about building out our front end. We'll learn about exactly what a web browser is and what they actually do, things like that. And then finally, we'll have to bring these two together in the fifth session. And then maybe later on, we'll have a sixth session for miscellaneous stuff that I didn't cover. I don't know yet. So today's agenda, we'll learn about what is a website, what does the internet actually is, why do I pay Comcast $70 a month for this garbage. We'll actually set up a domain name, or I'll show you steps on how to set up a domain name. And then at the end, we'll actually get a website working for you. Unfortunately, today we're actually not going to get into coding at all. We'll get to it next week, but today really is just a lot of background information that is very useful when you're developing. All right. So networking, the joke about the internet is that it's just a bunch of tubes, right? And to be fair, that analogy is actually not far off from the truth, right? But when we go to like twitch.tv, we put a domain name. What does that even mean? Like, how do computers use that to get content, right? The problem is that a domain name doesn't provide enough information by itself to actually give you anything. What we need to do, computers only talk to each other through IP addresses, which I'm sure you've heard that before. And this process of finding the IP address from your domain name is called a DNS lookup. And DNS stands for the domain name system, right? It associates domain names with not just IP addresses, but also authority records. For example, like who owns this, and like what other domain names point to the same domain name, right? It's like a giant phone book. They connect names to numbers, and DNS service exists worldwide, right? Like if you're in like Asia, you don't want to be looking up the domain name of a website in like, I don't know, Europe, like halfway around the world or whatever. And the domain name system is actually very mature. It was like just a random bit of trivia. It was first specified in 1983. It was revised a little bit in 87, and with some very small modifications, it's relatively unchanged. So ISPs, or why the hell do I pay Comcast $70 a month for it to go down all the time? ISPs operate cable networks that connect your computers to the public internet. So like we have what are called tier 1 ISPs, which operate the internet backbone. They lay down like the giant underwater cables that connect continents and countries together. Tier 3, yeah, and this includes companies like Verizon, AT&T, etc. Tier 3 ISPs are regional last mile providers. They go to your homes. If you're watching this on the internet, your tier 3 ISP is responsible for that. And this is a Comcast. Tier 2 ISP exists somewhere in between, something like level 5. They operate the cables across the continental United States, right? Oops. ISPs agree to exchange traffic with each other so requests can go anywhere. Because no company lays cable throughout the entire world, they need to use each other's services to get your request to any website that you want. And this tiering arrangement is not really based on size. It's technically based on the peering agreements they have. Tier 1 ISPs, you're a Tier 1 ISP if you can use it, if you have free peering agreements with the other Tier 1 ISPs, basically. Yeah, and ISPs also operate DNS servers and network routers that you use to your internet. That's why I pay Comcast, even though, So when we send a request, what happens? Well, the very first thing that we do is we do a DNS lookup request. Chances are the IP address of twitch.tv is saved on your browser, so you don't have to do a request. But if for some reason it's not, we have to do this. So it gets sent from your browser down to your network card, to your router, and to your home modem, which, by the way, a modem stands for modulator demodulator. What it does is they convert digital signals from your computer to analog signals that can be sent over wires. If you have a home fiber line, you don't have a modem because fiber can carry digital signals. So the DNS lookup is received by your ISP's DNS servers because it's almost certainly the one that's closest to you. And then it checks if it has it, which twitch.tv is pretty popular, so it probably has it. Otherwise, it forwards the request to its parent, and so on and so forth, until there's no more parents, or they find the request. DNS is basically a big lookup table? Yes, it is. So your browser receives the request. Great. And sends the request to the IP address of twitch.tv, right? Again, it goes through your browser, to your home router, to your home modem, and then it gets sent to your ISP's network router. And then that network router forwards it continuously to more network routers until it gets to finally the IP address of the server. The server doesn't actually send you the request first, it sends you an ACK. And it says, okay, are you alive, basically. And then their response has to go through the network again. The same path, the same hops back to you. So my modem has the DNS database if it's not there? No. What it does is like you are connected to a cable network through your home, through your apartment or whatever, and that's connected to the ISP's servers, and your signal gets sent to theirs. ACK equal acknowledgement, yes. Great. So now your browser and the server both know that you exist, and then they not always, they perform the TLS handshake. If you go into a browser and you open a website and you see on the little corner, it says establishing secure connection. That's what they're doing. Is they're doing this. They're making sure that I trust you, you trust me, and nobody can see what we're talking about, basically. This takes at least 3 different network round trips to complete, right? We've already sent the ACKs to each other. Now we send like 3 more across the network for this to complete, right? Each one has to go through the entire network chain again. And it's kind of amazing that this actually works, if you think about it. And now finally, we complete the handshake, we've secured each other, and now finally our browser says, okay, give me the request. And if the server is feeling nice, then it'll give you your content. And you can go back to watching your dank memes. All right. So, oh God. So we're going to register a domain name now. I'm going to use Amazon Route 53 as my domain name registrar. There are many domain name registrars available. Like, you don't need to use Amazon. Like, if you're a child of the 90s, you've probably seen many commercials for GoDaddy. And, you know, that influenced me to use GoDaddy for my first domain name, but I didn't. But I'm not doing that this time. You can go ahead and shop around. Like, you know, if your domain name is cheap, like you can see if it's cheaper somewhere else. It doesn't really matter. They're all going to be about the same price. Like Amazon, every .com domain name is $12, right? Right. So like I've already registered a domain name, but I'll just show you the process. Like, I don't know. Like you obviously can't buy a domain name that's already owned by somebody. So, you know, you have to go through a check, and I guess somebody owns HealthyGamer.com, right? Like .gg, $75. Like, okay, what the hell? This is obviously not available because it's the HealthyGamer website, right? .gg, just a little bit of random trivia. .gg is a top-level name owned by the island of Guernsey, which is a tiny island in the English Channel. So every time you buy .gg, you pay them. .io is a popular one. This one's owned by the British Indian Ocean Territories. And .tv, let's just check .tv. .tv is owned by the nation of Tuvalu, which is an island in the Pacific. And this is actually available. So, yeah, you can buy this for $32 a year if you really wanted to. And then after that, you add to your cart, and then you need to provide contact details when you buy a domain name. You do need to register it with either your personal information or your business's information. That's name, address, email, phone number, etc., etc. I'm not going to continue because this website autofills it with my personal information, so I'm not going to dox myself like that. But yeah, buy your domain name, and then you purchase it. When you purchase a domain name, it takes about an hour, usually, for it to be like fully propagated to all the servers in the world. it could, at the worst case, it could take like a day or so, but usually it takes like an hour, and it'll show up under pending requests until you do that. Yeah, whoisguard is also needed. Yeah, most DNS registrars will do it for you. There's like a little checkbox you can say that. To say like hide private information. But this website, because it's under my account, you know, it has all my personal information, right? Like I can't click into any of this because I'm going to dox myself. So when you create, when you register a domain name on Amazon Route 53, what they do is they'll create what's called a hosted zone for you, and a hosted zone is the AWS way of managing domain name records. Whenever you register a domain name, it adds a set of records that tell you information about the domain name itself, right? So for example, the NS record tells you what name servers are authoritative. Like if you go to any of these servers, these will have the most up-to-date information about HealthyGamerWorkshop.com. And SOA stands for Start of Authority. It tells you, again, like who owns this domain name, who's the host master on it, and these are called TTLs, or time to lives. And basically it says, how long do I have to wait until I should refresh and get updated information about the domain name? None of this information is private. You could go, it's completely public, right? You can go to, like if you Google search dig, and there's this one, toolbox.googlapps.com. You can go to I've already done this. Like you can go to healthygamer.gg. You can say name servers, and I can see that I guess Dr. K used some sort of Indian domain name registrar when he bought this. I don't know. It's all public, right? See, like, yeah, I don't know. I never used Gandhi.net before. I don't know. I guess it's fine. If you choose to use a different registrar for your domain name, you need to create a hosted zone manually. Hosted zones are an AWS resource. The first one is free, I think, for managing your domain names, and we will need to use it a lot. If you choose to use a different registrar, you can usually just get a zone file, which a zone file is just like, it's just a text file that has all this stuff added to it, and you just import it. Just create a hosted. You just create a hosted zone, domain name, you know, description, and you have to make it public because we want our website to be public, right? And then you just import, and then you just go and you import your zone file. And I think that should be it, but there are guides on how to do it. Route 53 uses Gandhi under the hood. Okay, well, I didn't know that. All right, so go back to this. Registering. Wait, so we registered a domain name. What the hell? I hate Google Docs. I'll get my notes back. Turn pointers back on. What happens when the website is private? Do you need like a password or authentication method to access it? No, it just means you can't access it from the public web at all. So like if you want other people to be able to watch it, to look at it, it needs to be public. Like other people need to be able to get your information. So I talked about servers, right? And the question is like, I've used that term server and server a lot. What exactly is a server? I mean, like the stupid answer is that it serves requests. It's called a server because it serves, right? I don't know. To be a bit more concrete, it's a computer that listens for requests on a particular IP address and responds back with whatever content that you asked for, right? And this is kind of a complicated process. Like there's lots of different ways to do this, and lots of programming languages have their own. For example, Django, and there's Flask and whatever. Node.js is Express, and it's Ruby's entire existence basically. The problem with the server is that we do need at least one, right? If you want to host a website, you need like somewhere there needs to be a server that handles your website. The problem is it costs money, right? It costs money. Servers are actual computers, right? If you ever built like if you have your own tower, desktop tower, like it's like that. You're building a server. You're building a computer, right? Do you really want to set up your own? Personally, no. If you're like Linus Tech Tips or whatever, then I don't know. They monetize their own servers, so maybe if you want to learn, but it costs actual money, right? And you have to run it. It costs actual electricity. If you're serving traffic, you actually have to deal with those network costs. And if the thing fails, which hardware fails all the time, you have to replace it. And it's annoying for your quality of life because they're very loud. Servers are very loud. What do we do? What do we do? Why? What do we do? And okay. And the answer that we're going to do is the cloud. And the cloud is kind of mysterious, right? People like think about it like it's this mysterious thing. They don't know what exactly to make of it. But again, the silly answer is that the cloud is just someone else's computer. Okay. Wikipedia defines the cloud as on-demand availability of computer system resources without direct active management by the user. So if you've watched like a Linus Tech Tips video and you see that they have a video like our server burnt down, or we ran out of storage and we gotta insert like another like 10 petabytes of whatever hard drive, that's direct active management, right? You don't want, like if you enjoy doing that, you do that. This other thing though is on-demand availability of computer system resources, right? What this means is that if I need more computers, I just ask for more. And then if I don't need any more, I just give it back, and they stop charging me for it. And that's really the overview of what the cloud is. The idea of the cloud has actually existed since the 90s. The term cloud computing is sometime in the mid-90s, I think. But it was really only popularized by Amazon in 2006 when they launched S3 and EC2 and SQS, but nobody talks about SQS. Nobody likes SQS. SQS is the dumb bastard child, redheaded stepchild of AWS. Today, of course, Amazon is not the only game in town. There are several major providers. I've seen DigitalOcean in the chat. We're not going to use DigitalOcean. And nowadays, they provide much more than just computers, just raw computers. They provide many different kinds of weird things that you're like, why the hell would anybody ever use this? But apparently some people do. And apparently it's useful for doing things. And we're going to be using several services of AWS. The last thing about the cloud is that because cloud providers are so massive, economies of scale generally provide lower costs. And costs keep getting lower, like all the cloud providers, except for Google Cloud. I'm looking at you, GKS. Constantly lower costs to their end users, like all the time. So the operative word in this last slide is lower costs. Lower costs. They still cost something, right? They still cost actual money. And the thing is that cloud providers are not toys. They are enterprise tools. What this means is that they prioritize your application not going down over you being charged less, okay? This means that if you get DDoSed, your application will still be running, but your costs will go up, okay? It is extremely important to treat cloud providers as enterprise tools, and that means managing your billing alerts, which we'll do next week, fortunately. All right. And one of the things that hurts me is that there is no automatic kill switch on cloud providers. If this happens and you want your app to just go down because you don't want to get your bill to cost you an arm and a leg, there's no way. There's no managed way to do this. You have to do this yourself, and I'm not sure if we're going to get to this in time. And let's go ahead and look at the pricing calculator. So I'm just going to show you like why I cannot recommend using a cloud server. So go to EC2. Let's do a quick estimate because we don't really care. You want Linux. You're not going to use Windows Server. Nobody fucking uses Windows Server. You don't need enterprise Linux, and we're not using SQL Server. SQL Server is Microsoft's relational database thing. We're not going to use it. And so a vCPU is not a physical core. It's core. It's core plus hyperthreading, right? So this is basically a 2-core Intel whatever, and 16 gigabytes of memory. Okay, on-demand hourly cost 15 cents. This is 15 cents USD. We're not going to use on-demand. We're going to use on-demand, and we're not going to use reserved instances because the thing about reserved instances is you have to pay up to like a year or 3 years. And if you're a business, reserved instances are a great idea because your business is not. Hopefully, your business doesn't go bankrupt after a year, right? But for us, we want on demand because we want to be able to just kill it whenever and just stop paying. So 15 cents an hour is $110 US. It's $110 US a month on one of these things. Like, okay. Do we really need 8 gigs of memory? Maybe we can go down a little bit. What is that? That's 10 cents an hour. That's $75 USD. Right? And that's not even storage. We actually, these things don't come with hard drives. You have to rent a hard drive separately. This costs $3 a month, which is, it's whatever, but it's still, it's an extra $3 a month that you have to pay. All right? So when people ask me what framework am I going to use or what are we going to do? This is the most important thing on my mind when I was designing this, is that I cannot recommend people having to spend this much money on a server, right? And this is just for one. This is just for one server. It's like if you need multiple, okay, well, you just multiply this number by however much this is, right? I can't recommend that. So what are we going to do? And the answer that somebody is what's called serverless computing. Serverless also has this mysterious reputation among engineering. What is it? What is it? Wikipedia defines it as the cloud provider runs the server and dynamically manages the allocation of machine resources. In this case, a serverless is a bit of a misnomer because there's still a server still exists, right? It's just that you don't care. You don't care about the server. As far as you're concerned, it's just magic, even though it's really not. There's lots of engineering work that goes behind serverless computing. It's still just someone else's computer.
I have a reminder for Edward.
Okay, that's my Google Home. I set a reminder at 12:30. God damn it.
All right, but first you'll have
to shut up! Device. Whoops, I should turn that off for next time. My bad. Yeah, whatever, man. You've already seen my name. It's on the AWS website. You saw my name in the corner. Where's the Alexa? I don't get Alexas for free, all right? I got this Google Home for free from Spotify. Whatever, man. They don't give it to me for free. All right, okay, all right, continuing on. God. Okay. Yeah, Amazon employees, we don't get anything for free, all right? So the thing about serverless computing is that pricing is based on what you use and not what you rent. It's a little bit of a tricky thing, and we'll go over that a little bit. So, and because of this, we're going to be running as serverless as possible, because this really, like, for the scales that we're probably going to be running, this is the best cost available, really. It's still very important to learn how to manage fleets of servers, and this is a very in-demand skill. However, it's also very expensive to learn on your own. The best way to do it really is on-the-job training, which, you know, jobs want you to have the skill, but you can't learn the skill until you have a job. I don't know. It's really bad. And the thing about serverless offerings are that they're priced such that there is a break-even point where running servers does become cheaper than being serverless. However, let's take a look at that and see exactly at service, exactly, you know, how much it costs, right? So on AWS Lambda is the serverless service. Okay, AWS Lambda lets you run code without blah 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 blah. You pay only for compute time you consume. There is no charge when your code is not running. Great. Many AWS services do have a free tier. So for example, Lambda includes 1 million free requests per month and 400,000 gigabyte seconds of compute time per month. 1 million free requests. That's okay. Like if you think about 1 million hits on your website a month, like come on, like your shit is not gonna hit 1 million requests in a month. All right, let's just put that out of the way. It's not gonna happen for something that we're gonna put together. All right, so come on, like there's no thing. But let's just see. Like, let's say that we do exhaust our 1 million free requests in a month. Don't decolon me. You know it's true. Let's say that we passed our 1 million free requests. Let's say that how much does 100,000 requests cost? Each, and then a Lambda function runs in, I don't know, we'll call it 250 milliseconds. And we'll use we'll allocate half a gig of memory. That costs 27 cents for 100,000 requests. Like you see the cost benefit here that I'm doing. Like I would really love to show people how to run servers, but like the cost benefit is just not worth it, right? Do 1 million requests. Oh, it costs 270. Great. Whoop-de-doo. How much does it take to get to 75? $75 a month? So 27. So it's what? 30 million requests? Yeah, I don't know, man. Like, you're not gonna hit 30 million requests in a month on your toy application. Let's just be real here. All right. And provision concurrency is something that you don't need. Like if you're hitting 30 million, then you might need it. But like at our scale, we don't need it at all. Yeah. What's my time? I'm actually going a lot faster than I did on my practice runs. Probably because I'm nervous. Oh well. I don't know how to use this thing. Maybe I'll figure out how to do this later. Good question. What constitutes a request? It's basically just how many times your code runs. For AWS Lambda, you give it some code, and then it just kind of sits there until you want it to run. And that one time you run is a request. And if your Lambda runs for longer than like a second, then you're probably doing something wrong, right? So we try and keep the duration really low. Yeah, something like that. So serverless hosting on AWS, we're actually not going to be using Lambda for hosting. We're going to be using S3, we saw that I listed this acronym earlier, Simple Storage Service. It's one of AWS's oldest and premier services. Its main purpose is storage, simple storage service, right? I put limitless in quotes because while it's obviously not actually limitless, in practice nobody has ever been able to, exhaust it. You could put exabytes into S3 and AWS will just keep trucking along. It doesn't really matter, all right? For our purposes, S3 can also be configured to be a website server. So that's what we're going to use. And I guess I should have shown this slide before we come here because we will go to S3 now. Amazon S3, which S3 is the 5th tile. Why is it the 5th tile when I type S3? Come on. So we're going to be using S3 standard. If you want to really bring down your prices, you could go to one zone, but it's not really the best idea, really. And for S3 storage, it doesn't even go down to megabytes. Like if you put in less than a gigabyte, like Amazon doesn't even care. We're gonna put in like 50 megs in there, right? And when we want to put things into S3, so I don't know, let's say in a month we update our website like 100 times, whatever. And how many hits do we think our website will get in a month? I don't know, like what, 1,000? 10,000? I don't know. A billion? No, we're not doing a billion hits. We're not running. We don't all run Google scale websites grid. All right, this is cost 1 cent. 10,000 hits on our website costs 1 cent. All right, like, do you see the cost analysis that I have to do? 10,000 hits on our website costs me 1 cent. 100,000 costs me 4 cents. Oh my god! I guess they round up. God, like, come on, like they should at least round down for me. It's not fair. All right, data transfer. Inbound data transfer, we don't care. Outbound data transfer, well, we're going to be bringing it to the public, right? So let's try and put this into consideration. 100,000, and a website is like, I don't know, half a meg. So what is that? Gigabytes per month, 0.005. It's free. Oops. No, this is wrong. Let's do 5,000. Wait, no, that's wrong. 5,000 gigabytes per month. That's not right at all. Sorry. It's closer to a gigabyte. Maybe 10 gigabytes. All right, whatever. It costs me like less than $1. Right? This is why I chose the services that I did. Okay, so we are now actually going to set up a website. I have these open. You see I have some buckets. A bucket in S3 is a thing that you use to store other things, all right? Create bucket, enter create your bucket name. You should create your bucket with the name of your domain name, which you could definitely do. And you see that I've already uploaded a mysterious HTML document that we will be doing later. So I'm going to do something that is very bad. And we will, when I'm done with this session, we're going to completely undo everything that I'm doing, and we're going to fix it in a later session. Okay? This is very bad, and I do not recommend you do this. We are going to go to the block public access setting, and we're going to turn it off. We are going to allow public access to my buckets. This is something that you generally don't want to do, but confirm. Yeah. So when you hear news all the time about like big data leaks because somebody has a public S3 bucket. You gotta do this, man. Somebody has to go and turn off public access manually and confirm this. I don't understand how they do this. In before I get hacked? Yeah, try and hack me. All right, we'll go back to my buckets. And then you have to turn off block all public access, and then you have to go into your bucket and you have to do the same thing. I need to turn on public access here also. And you need to do this to leak your data. So I don't understand how people actually manage to mess this up. Right. So now this bucket is public, and if you want a public website, you kind of need this, right? You need people to visit your website, so you need to make it public. So you have to turn this off. But people do this with like their confidential data, and I don't understand how they manage to do it. And the second thing that you need to do, I mean, a third thing that you need to do is that you actually need to allow people to read the items in your bucket. And you need to do this and we will go over this more in depth on a later session, next session. You need to grant what's called a policy, right? So if we read this, like some of it is like weird magic, like you just need this, you don't need this. But like if you read this carefully, effect allow, principal is just people, star means everybody. So allow everybody to get object on star again. So allow everybody to get everything inside this bucket, right? These are the steps that you need to do to make your bucket public, and people still mess it up. Like how? I don't understand. So now we save. And now it tells you your bucket is public. It tells you your bucket is public. Zoom in? How do I zoom in on Chrome? Okay, there we go. All right, you see this? All right, I hope you can see it now. Okay, again, effect allow everybody to get object on everything. This is basically what it's saying. And this is some sort of magic. Like I said, we'll go over what this means next time. But for now, we'll do this, and I'm gonna get rid of this after this session. Like this is bad. Don't do this. Don't do this. We'll go over what you need to do. Okay. And the problem is, if I go to HealthyGamerWorkshop.com, which I bought, this server's IP address cannot be found. Right. This is a DNS resolution failure. Right. Even though I've registered my domain name, I haven't associated it with an IP address. Maximize my window? All right, fine. Right, so that's our next steps, getting this up. Well, thankfully for S3, under properties, you could just do it. Oh, I guess I've already done it. I forgot to turn it off when I was testing it. You go here, you click static website hosting, you turn it on. And you say index.html is your document. You saw it here, I added index.html, right? That's basically what this is. Great. And you need to copy this. Use this bucket to host a website. All right. And that's it. And now we gotta register this server with our domain name. And to do that, you go to hosted zones, you go to your hosted zone, and we create a record. Simple routing, we don't care about any of this because like I said, we're gonna get rid of all of this later. I'm gonna fix it. I'm just here to get a website working. Next, define simple record. We want an A record. A stands for alias, which means a record. It means this domain name points to another domain name, basically. And I believe the console lets us specify an alias to a S3 website endpoint. And my bucket, if I recall, my bucket is in US East North Virginia. So US, East, North Virginia. And I choose my bucket. If your bucket is not named the same as your domain name, that's fine. There's a little bit more work you need to do, but that's fine. Evaluate target health, I don't care. We'll do it. We'll probably do it later. Define simple record, you create the record. And that's it. And now, if we refresh the page, fuck all of you. It's probably too loud. And that's it. Alright, that's enough. That's it, right? I don't want to get this copy straight. That's it. And now I have a website for you. This is everything that I put into index.html. All right. And it's available. And I have a website that you guys can go to get rickrolled. Is this site going to stay up? No, it's not. Like I said, I need to, and now I got to go back and turn off public access. I got to block public access again, right? Confirm, because I don't want hackermans to come in and bust through my thing. And now you don't get the lovely voice of Rick Astley anymore. You get forbidden because it's blocked now. Do not turn on block public access. Do not turn this off if you don't know what you're doing. Do not turn this on if you don't know what you're doing. And that is actually it for today. I did go much faster than my practice. I'm really sorry about that. First time nerves, I guess. But next time, we'll be setting up a developer environment. We'll be going over version control, and I'm going to explain to you exactly why everything I did was very bad. And we're going to start automating the things that I did here. We'll be talking more about cloud security and that mysterious code that allows everybody to look at things in your bucket. And we're going to do some actual coding next time. So that's great. You know, we didn't do any actual coding. I want to say thank you to everybody who came here and gave me your time. And I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you found it informative. And I hope to see you all again next time. I will be staying here for some questions. Probably for like, I don't know, 30 minutes or so. That's it. When is next time? Probably in 2 weeks. I'm still preparing the actual session material. I got a lot of, I don't know, there's some things I still need to set up. And I've got a lot of work, really. All right, feel free to @me if you have any questions that I missed. Will this be recorded? Yes. I'm recording this. I'll give it to Trinian, and he'll put it up on YouTube or whatever. Did I enjoy Harvest League? Yes, I did. Can you run down quickly to what to not turn on or off in the settings? Okay. Right, this is an account level setting, block public access, account settings. If it's on, like if this is on, then no bucket in your entire account is allowed to be public at all. So in general, you want this on, unless for some reason you want to share data with somebody, then I guess you have to turn it off. But then and then here on the website, it will tell you when your thing is public, right? Like it tells you here that this policy allows everybody to view your things. So again, I'm going to delete this because I don't want it. I don't want it. We're not going to be using this. I'm going to turn it, and I'm going to turn on the bucket level. I'm going to block public access. Again, let's confirm this again. Right. I don't know if you mentioned, but what are the downsides of S3? Well, like I said, like all serverless services, there is a point where where managing your own servers does become more expensive. Like you can do more in-depth calculations on S3. I mean on the calculator, like how much you're going to pay. But we really are not going to be storing that many things into S3, so it's almost free, right? As far as downsides, like, I mean, unless you're afraid of sharing like if you're afraid of your data getting leaked because you're gonna accidentally do something, then that's really it. I don't know. S3, like I said, is an enterprise level thing. Like companies put petabytes of data into S3, and it just works. So if we wanted to do serverless instead of S3, will we need to write code that actually serves index.html? Yes. So you will need to set up your IP address to something that can run your code. And to be fair, that could be Lambda. I believe that could be Lambda. And you could set up your backend framework on Lambda, and it could just return to you return to your website. I think. I've never done it before, so don't quote me on that. How realistic is to learn enough coding and find an internship or full-time employment without formal education? I think I'm the wrong person to ask about that because I don't know if you caught the beginning of the session. I do have formal education, so my position does not really. I don't really know. Were we supposed to host our own website? You can if you want. I would hope that people following this workshop actually do go ahead and try to host their own thing. Like I'm obviously not. I can't go into every detail about every little thing about hosting a website. Like I'm gonna go into try and go through over the very broad strokes. But I would hope that I give you enough information that you can go and build something on your own, and that would be great if you did. Please add me on Discord if you do. I would love to see it. Any advice for future CS majors? Kind of general question, blah, blah, blah. Computer science is not software engineering. Your professors are very intelligent people, but they are probably not engineers. You will most likely learn nothing of what I teach in this workshop because it doesn't concern computer science professors. Computer science professors are interested in their research. They're not interested in building web applications. A computer science degree exists to prepare you for graduate level computer science education and not in the industry, despite what most people do with it. Are we going to have access to VOD later? Yes. Which degree do I have? I have a degree in applied math and computer science. I put applied math for computer science because I'm more proud of it. I enjoyed those classes much more than I did the computer science ones. Will you be going over how to handle spam activity from China? Probably not. What AWS service would you recommend to host a small Discord bot? The problem with Discord bots is that they need to be always online. So Lambda is not really applicable in these cases. Lambda is for individual requests, like something like I go to a website, and so that doesn't happen continuously, right? If you try to host a Discord bot on Lambda, I would expect it to be to be not very great user experience. So in that case, I think you really do need to host it on a server like EC2. Does it? Yeah, I don't know. How did you better learn CS and mathematics? That stuff makes me resident sleeper. Well, unfortunately, I can't help you with that. The actual reason that I went into math is because of a girl who was taking this class, and I liked her, so we took the class together. But at the end of the class, I realized that I enjoyed the class, which was actually discrete mathematics, more than I liked the girl. So I stayed in the so I stayed in the program. I just like discrete math. I don't know what to say. Yeah, ditched the girl, kept the math. That's exactly right. And then I realized like I can't really like getting a job with just a math degree would be hard. So like I just went and did the CS courses also. I was like, okay, whatever. I'll just be a software engineer after I graduate. Any good resource for it? I'm not sure, honestly. Then how do you prepare yourself for the industry as a CS major? Well, you try and get as many internships as you can, which I didn't really do a good job at. But the best way to prepare yourself for the industry is to join the industry as an intern. That's really it. You can try and learn on your own, and hopefully I do a good enough job that you can follow this workshop and do something that you can put on your resume. But still, if you're still in school, I would highly recommend you just get internships. Slacked for 3 years, now I'm stressing my final year. Well, it's your final year, you can still get an internship. Yeah, that is true, right? I mean, like, I did graduate before Corona, so it was easier back in those days. I don't know, man. I think I would say like I would my opinion is that it would probably be easier to get an internship for a larger company because larger companies are still hiring. Like for example, my team, we're still hiring interns and hiring engineers like at Amazon. I would assume like smaller startups probably don't have the capital for it, but like you know, that's just my opinion. Please don't go and apply only to larger companies and say and then cry that you can't get a job or something. Yeah, apply everywhere. I don't know. I don't know what else to say. Apply to 5 different places. Well, there's your problem, right? I think before I got a job, I applied to like a couple hundred, which really does suck. It's really soul crushing to apply and not hear back from anything, but it's really the reality of the situation, right? I know Dr. K has a couple of good videos on like managing your expectation, like, and boy, if he was around when I was trying to look for jobs, I think I probably wouldn't have. Uh, I'd probably be a much happier person than I am now. Just put it that way. Uh, I just live in a place with 0 jobs. Well, it depends on how young you are, but you might as well try and move to a place with more jobs than 0. But then again, with coronavirus, a lot like every company is doing remote hiring. So like for us, like at Amazon, our new grads, like Amazon just mails them a laptop, and then they can just work from wherever they are. It took me 8 years to finish my CS degree. I was put on a year long because I was a hardcore addict. Do you think I'm doomed? Well, did you finish your degree? Do I plan on sticking with AWS Amazon as your job? Yes, actually. I know like Amazon has this reputation of being a very hard place to work. And while, you know, it's it's certainly not easy, right? We certainly have deadlines to shoot for. And especially if we work on the AWS side, we have our yearly conference and we got to make those deadlines. And sometimes you have to crunch. But all in all, I really like my team. I really like my leadership, my manager, my senior manager, my vice president. I really like the product. I have a lot of faith in the product. Plus, Amazon stock is just skyrocketing, man. Like, holy crap, that stock. Do I need a CS degree? No, I don't. I did know at least one engineer at Amazon. I believe he works for Google now, who did not have a CS degree, and he was a software engineer. Do I live in Seattle? No, I live in the San Francisco Bay Area. Well, NHawk07, I can't help you there. Not sure. There's a lot of reasons why that could happen. Yeah, the bad part about the Bay Area right now is we got wildfires everywhere, and the air quality index is like at 100. So I gotta keep all the windows closed. How old am I? I am 26, turning 27 this year. Nothing like paying 4,500 a month of rent. I pay 2,000, so not that bad. And I live by myself, so that's also great. Not that bad, yeah, I know. My opinion on rent is colored from living in this stupid Bay Area for school and for work for the past, I don't know, it's been like, oh, it's almost been 10 years now at this point. But I heard you were looking for a roommate? No. Well, that depends. Are you a woman? I hope that doesn't get me mad. And it's not going to be next week, creative name. It's going to be in 2 weeks. I have a lot of things going on, and I'm still prepping some of the sessions. So next week. Oh, so I should get rid of this as well. I don't need this anymore.
Still nothing but didn't apply yet? Well, there's a problem. Applying. There's really nothing else to do. Totally not ready, doesn't matter. If you're not ready, like if you don't try, you're not gonna get anything. Like Dr. K, things like constant like being over obsessive isn't great. At some point, you just have to go for it. Okay, well, looks like questions are dying down. If you guys still have more questions, you could feel free to add me or DM me on Discord. I need to get some food. I haven't eaten all day, so thank you again so much for coming. I hope to see you again. I'm gonna end it here.